Hey everyone, Finn here with a review of Replaced by Sad Cat Studios. This one's special. This has been a game I've been excited to play since it was announced many a year ago at some event. It quickly grabbed me with the graphical presentation of its neo-noir Blade Runner-esque setting. It uses, I guess 2D HD isn't the right framework for it, but incredibly high quality pixel art to depict this alternative 1980s sci-fi noir dystopia that you find yourself in place of. The story follows a scientist named Warren who's working with an AI named Reach. A graphical malfunction, something happens. Reach gets implanted into Warren's head, and through a series of mistakes and misadventures is now on the run from the corporate entity that basically housed it. You find yourself on the outskirts of the town. You come across a motley crew of surviving refugees out in the wild. This is a world where a corporate entity, the Phoenix Corporation, has forced people into involuntary organ donations. They're being cataloged by this AI program for who is most eligible, most compatible with the elite of society. So if they need a body part, that person gets disappeared and unalived, and there's nothing anyone can do about it. Warren and Reach were unwittingly part of that, and part of the fantastic story that I'm not going to get into spoilers here because that would do this game a disservice and your experience a disservice. But truth be told, it is one of the coolest stories I've encountered in a game of this genre in many years. And part of that is because of the absolutely stellar presentation. This game absolutely nails the aesthetic of the Blade Runner-esque, like sci-fi noir world that you envision when you think of those words. The lighting, the cinematography, the camera angles, everything about this, when paired with its pixel art, brings this world to life, gives it so much depth. It's the shadows, the lighting, everything about this. Like, I cannot count the amount of times I just stopped and stared at the world in awe. There is one particular segment where you have to climb a neon sign in the middle of a city, and it was incredible. I had to go back and like capture that moment in footage because it's that good. There's a scene where you have to escape a police ambush, and that might go down as one of my favorite sequences of 2026. There's small moments where you go into this, not quite a hub city, but this town that you visit multiple times, and as time progresses, things change, but that's where you get side quests. That's where you'll gain intel. The story is largely told through the plot of progression of the game, but a lot of the fleshing out of the world happens through finding dossiers and tapes and your standard like finding things in the world that flesh out the past. But you can see how we got to this alternative world, the moments that led to it in American history, that led to the Phoenix Corporation usurping the United States government and becoming the government. And it was incredible to piece together bit by bit when paired with the overall plot being told, because all of it is optional, all of it is supplementary, but it really went a long way to make the world feel lived in. It was one of the few games where, outside of like doing it for a trophy, I wanted to find all these little collectibles to learn more about the world. I wanted to run around and talk to everyone, make sure I didn't miss a side quest, because the characters are fun. The dialogue is charming. Reach as a character kind of is your, what is it to be a human? What is it to be real, to be alive type of question that gets asked a lot in this genre. But all of that is to say, the The graphics and the aesthetic and the vibes in this game are immaculate. I cannot stress enough how jaw-droppingly gorgeous this game is to experience. I want people to play it solely almost for that. The story is a nice bonus, but like the game is so pretty to play and pretty to experience. It's a testament to the hard work of Sad Cat Studios that there's not a single part or location in this game that felt subpar. Like everything had the same level of detail, the same level of love added to it. Gameplay wise, it is a standard fare, at least where it comes to puzzles are concerned. It's more or less just what platform, what box can you move to reach a new location. It basically boils down to that in most cases. The platforming in this game is very solid. It's very, very purposeful, I guess is a word. All of your movements have weight to it. There is no canceling. Once you've committed to a jump, that's it. You've committed to a jump. The checkpoint system is fairly lenient, so if you really screw up a platforming section, you don't lose too much of your time. But as you progress through the game, you gain more traversal abilities to make the platforming feel more varied and inventive. And they do a good job about it. You can swing on poles, you can scramble up ledges, you can move boxes and stuff to gain access to new areas. You can activate vents and use your gun to basically mock up a double jump. You gain the ability to do all kinds. You can crawl. You can hack things later that open up new avenues of where to go. It's really cool because so many of the things that benefit you in combat also benefit you in traversal. Like you get a pickaxe that in combat can shred enemy shields, but in the field when you're platforming can latch on to certain kind of textures and allow you an additional foothold where normally there wouldn't be anywhere to jump. It's stuff like that. It all works really seamlessly. The game does a really good job with its camera and its graphical like imagery that you never really miss out on what you can interact with. You always can see where you're supposed to go. Even if you're going off the beaten path to find a collectible or an upgrade or something, you still never really get lost. And in a game where you can only go left or right or interact with the environment and come to the forefront or the background, I think it's a testament to developers that they built these worlds in a way that feels seamless to move through. I think that's a really cool feature on their part. Combat-wise, I am always drawn to the comparison of Batman, the Arkham series, but in a 2D plane. It's really cool. Like you'll fight huge swaths of enemies, but only a handful of them come at a time, and you can still see the remainder of who's left in the background as they file in to take their shot at you. And it's really cool. So as you string together combos and attack enemies, your attacks have weight to it. But you can interrupt an attack for a counter. You can interrupt an attack for a dodge roll, which is imperative because as you fight these huge groups of enemies, there's so many different enemy types. Each of them have their own weakness. Each of them have their own attack patterns, which in a vacuum, you'll be able to tackle one-on-one no problem, but you're never tackling them on one-on-one. You have standard enemies where you can attack. Just like in Arkham, if there's a yellow lightning symbol above them, that's an attack you can parry. If it's red, it's an attack you have to dodge. It's that simple, but there's layers to it. There's riot shield enemies that you have to disable their shields. There's gun enemies that shoot at you from afar. There's like ninja type enemies dual wielding blade twin daggers that you have to parry before you can even hit them. There's giant like brute enemies that are armored foes in like mechanized mecha gear or whatever. Those take a lot more damage and a lot more effort. You have a stun baton / gun combo, and as you pull off attacks, you build up the battery in the gun that allows you to basically hit enemies with a fatal gunshot. And it comes across like a dance, just like the best moments in the Arkham games, whereas you're chaining together attacks and parries and dodge rolls and pulling off your gun for finishing attacks. You're doing all of this in a seamless manner that's all being chained together. And so when you get hit, it feels like your fault, not the game's, which I feel is a very delicate balance for some games to pull off. But anytime I failed a combat encounter, I knew it was my fault, not the game's. Boss battles are very nerve-wracking and adrenaline-filled. You gain a really nice progressive clip of new abilities, either combat or traversal, so you're always feeling like you've making some progress and gaining more to do, so that none of the combat encounters or traversal sections feel redundant or not this again. Like, you're always being drip fed something new, so that as you progress, even to the very end, you are getting new stuff, which makes it really feel satisfying to keep playing. Yeah, I guess I'm rambling a lot, but Replaced is incredible. It's one of my favorite experiences of this year by far. It would be a miracle for this to somehow fall out of my top 10 of 2026. Honestly, it might be hard to knock it out of my top 5. Sad Cat Studios really crushed this game, from the plot to the graphics to the atmosphere and the aesthetic. The sound, I haven't even talked about the sound design and the music. Like, everything about it, this feels cinematic. This feels like Replaced could be a movie, and this is just a demake of the movie or something. There's a dog you can pet, and what game is bad for that, you know? But the combat is fun. I really like the way that they adapted Arkham's kind of combat into a 2D plane. You don't see that very often. The platforming was a lot of fun. The way the game opens up new abilities and new mechanics at a really good pace is fantastic. This might be one of the best examples of pixel art ever used. I'm huge on this game. This is a 9.5 out of 10 for me. Easily just an incredible experience. I highly recommend it to anybody. Go team.